Hi friends, Vanakkam. Welcome back to Keystone IAS Academy. Today's discussion covers some of the most significant articles from The Hindu dated 8th November and 9th November 2025. In this session, we will see the context of each article, what the author is trying to say, which GS paper syllabus it belongs to, and the important points to note for mains and prelims. And finally, one mains practice question for each topic. Everyone following this video is requested to write answers daily and post them in our Telegram group for evaluation. Alright, let's begin with a remarkable development from across the globe. Sohran Mamdani's victory in New York City. So, Sohran Mamdani's election as New York City's new mayor as a democratic socialist platform marks a historic shift in American politics, symbolizing the rise of welfare led governance within capitalist democracies. His victory and policy agenda also sparked a deeper global debate on sustainable welfareism, economic justice, and the balance between social equity and market efficiency. So let's understand what he stands for is democratic socialism. In simple terms, democratic socialism means giving people more control over the economy through democratic ways. Giving people more control over the economy through democratic ways, ensuring that essential needs like housing, education, and healthcare are treated as rights, not privileges. It aims to make capitalism fairer, not end it. Running on this platform, Mamdani's victory represents the growing acceptance of welfare led governance even within capitalist democracies. His policies like rent freezes, public groceries, free bus rides, and universal child care show how social values and economic growth can go hand in hand. Supported by around 90,000 volunteers, his campaign symbolizes grassroots mobilization and people's power in action. Democratic socialism, as Mamdani envisions it, is not about revolution but transforming capitalism through participation, social ownership, and justice. So, globally, we see similar trends also from Lula's Brazil to the UK under Keir Starmer, and even India's focus on welfare measures like Ayushman Bharat and DBT transfer, direct benefit transfer. But the key challenge is how to balance welfareism with the physical discipline. Too many subsidies slow growth. Unchecked markets increase inequality. So, economists say we need a balance between Rawlsian justice. What is Rawlsian justice? Which prioritizes the poor, and Pareto efficiency, which focuses on productivity. We need a balance between these two. Here it is Rawlsian justice. Rawlsian justice means which give priority to the least advantaged, okay, like poor. What is Pareto efficiency, which value market productivity? So we have to maintain a balance between two. So the lesson is very simple. Welfare must be disciplined, data driven, and sustainable. That is what the article says, and this is the whole explanation of this article. Hope you understood. So this is a very not very repeated topic, but very recent days it is coming up in the question paper. So here you can see the previous year question also before. One question in crony capitalism was asked in the CSAT comprehension, and one more question is also here, inclusive growth. So under inclusive growth, this topic becomes very easy. Also, it is very important for sociology optional also. So the rise of democratic, here is a practice question. The rise of democratic socialism and welfare-led politics in capitalist economies represents a shift towards inclusive governance. Discuss how welfareism can be made sustainable without undermining fiscal discipline. So write the answers and post it in our Telegram group. Coming to the next article, Prime Minister Narendra Modi while commemorating 150 years of Vande Mataram, claimed that the Congress truncated the original song in 1937, which he said symbolically sowed the seeds of division, a point now reigniting political debate over the song's legacy, national identity, and communal politics. What we should note for UPSC is the topic under modern Indian history, freedom struggle, and role of personalities. Also, GS paper 2, national symbols. Now, why? Because here is a previous year question asked in national flag of India. So, Vande Mataram also becomes important for as it marks the 150th anniversary. It may become important for this year prelims. So, Vande Mataram was written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay in 1875 as part of his novel Anandamath. It became a symbol of India's freedom struggle, sung in rallies, movements, and by leaders like Aurobindo Ghosh and Subhash Chandra Bose. However, in 1937, the Congress decided to adopt only the first two stanzas to avoid religious sensitivities, as the later verses used goddess imagery. So the Prime Minister said this fragmentation diluted its spirit, but the song continues to unite Indians today. So this debate against highlights how national symbols are tied to identity, secularism, and patriotism. So all key values in GS paper 1, national movement, all those things. So coming to the practice question, the debate over the 1937 truncation of Vande Mataram reflects how historical symbols continue to shape contemporary politics in India. Discuss this statement in light of the relationship between national identity, secularism, and political narrative. Now, coming to environmental governance, this article already we saw some 2 days before or something. Exclusive economic zone. So, what is the news here? The center has notified new rules for sustainable fishing in India's exclusive economic zone. So, as I already explained, what is economic zone? Let's see later. So, giving priority to fishermen cooperatives and fish farmer producer organizations for deep sea operations, promoting sustainable practices and ensuring traceability, certification, and biodiversity conservation. So this also comes under GS paper 1, paper 2 and 3. All three are the resources, marine resources commonly. Here you can see the previous year question on UNCLOS, Trans-Pacific Partnership, Indian Ocean, South China Sea, all those things you can go through, understand how the question are framed. That is very much important. Now, what is exclusive economic zone? As we already discussed this, so it extends 200 nautical miles from a country's coast baseline. It gives the country rights to explore and use marine resources. So it's a global common. It was established under the UN Convention on the Law of Sea, that is we usually called UNCLOS, in 1982. So these new rules promote responsible marine management, giving priority to fishermen's cooperatives and fish farmer producer organizations for deep sea operations. They introduce the mother and child vessel model, which allows mid-sea transshipment, helping smaller boats unload catch to bigger vessels. Okay, this is called mid-sea transshipment. What smaller boats unload catch to bigger vessels. Okay, this boosts efficiency, especially around Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep, which together make up nearly half of India's EEZ. So, online certification through the ALC Raft portal ensures traceability. Harmful fishing methods like LED fishing and bull trawling are now banned. The government also plans to promote seaweed farming and sea cage mariculture, providing new livelihood options while protecting biodiversity. So here you can read whatever the points I said. So one small tips to remember, like what is EEZ? EEZ is 200 nautical miles from the country's coastline, or you can say baseline. And UNCLOS, it is established in 1982. Already we saw in detail about UNCLOS. Then yes, what is mariculture? This is marine aquaculture like seaweed or fish farming. So this policy supports the idea of India's blue economy combining sustainability with the livelihood generation. Okay, so coming to the practice question, the recently notified sustainable harnessing of fisheries in the EEZ rules marks a shift from unregulated exploitation to responsible marine management. Discuss how these rules can promote India's blue economy while ensuring ecological sustainability. Okay. So next is a crucial development from the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. The ministry released a framework titled Reconciling Conservation and Community Rights, focusing on relocation and coexistence of forest tribes within tiger reserves. This policy came after concerns that relocations were being forced without recognizing rights under the FRA 2006. So, what is this FRA? FRA recognizes the rights of forest dwelling communities to live in and manage their traditional forest habitats. It covers both individual and community rights over land, produce, and forest management. Okay, now what is this policy saying? The new policy says relocation should be voluntary and it should not be forced. Okay, relocation should be voluntary, rights compliant, and scientifically justified. It should not be forced. So these are the main points that new policy is suggesting about. These are the previous year question which are related to fifth schedule of forest FRA. Direct question again FRA. It's a very important topic FRA. So please go through it. So here, as I already said, what this new policy is saying. The new policy said the relocation should be voluntary. It should not be forced. So it proposes a joint framework between Environment Ministry and Tribal Affairs, which is a national database to track relocation and annual audits to ensure compliance. It also says that consent must be taken from every household, not just Gram Sabha. Okay, the current provision is you just can take the consent from Gram Sabha alone is fine. But what this new policy says, consent must be taken from every household. This is very important. And that people who wish to stay should be included in conservation and ecotourism. This marks a major shift from fortress conservation, which excluded people. Fortress conservation, which excluded people, to a coexistence based conservation. Okay, to a coexistence based conservation. People also included in the conservation and ecotourism. That is very important. This is a new policy suggested. This is what the new policy suggests. The policy came after protest against a 2024 NTCA directive pushing for fast relocations. With over 64,000 families still living in core tiger areas, this policy seeks to balance ecological protection with tribal rights. That is very important. Okay, so it's a very important article. So coming to the practice question, discuss how the new policy framework on relocation and coexistence of forest dwelling communities in tiger reserves seeks to balance conservation and tribal rights. What challenges may arise in its implementation? It's a very direct question from the article. So you can just write the points whichever you have read or whichever you have come across. That really helps to remember the points while writing direct mains answers, because writing helps you to retain the points for longer period. So that is very important. Next, finally, let's talk about the future. What is this? Artificial intelligence governance in India. So the government of India has released the India AI Governance Guidelines 2025, a comprehensive framework to regulate, monitor and promote responsible use of artificial intelligence. balancing innovation, safety, and ethical governance while addressing concerns like deepfakes, data misuse, and IPR. So, AI, which is a topic which we have discussed like around 1,000 times till now. So, coming videos also, we are going to discuss AI multiple times. So, it's a very important topic. So let's see here. India has released, as I said, India has released AI Governance Guidelines 2025. It's a 66-page document outlining how AI should be developed responsibly. So, what is the goal in this policy or guidelines? The goal is to make AI people centric. Okay, AI people centric, transparent, and ethical while addressing issues like deepfakes, misinformation, privacy, and job displacement. So, why this guideline, why this goal is now important for India? Because India is the second largest user of larger language model after the US. What is this larger language models like ChatGPT, deepfake, all those things? So it is very much important for now India to create this AI governance guidelines. And again, the goal is to make AI people centric, transparent, and ethical. So the guidelines propose a AI governance group that will coordinate between ministries and regulators and the AI Safety Institute under the India AI mission to test and certify AI systems. They also encourage state governments to promote AI in Indian languages and build AI infrastructure. Importantly, the policy recognizes the challenge of AI and copyright. This we already um, saw. There is a challenge to balance both AI and copyright, because to train those AI, these companies, AI companies are using the IPR materials like copyrighted materials for free. That created a issue. Like Australia gives guidelines for this issue that we saw some 2-3 days before. So again, for India also, this becomes a very important challenge. So this policy recognizes this challenge of AI and copyright. What it is suggesting legal updates to define ownership of AI generated content. Right? If it is AI generated content, then you have to mention it is AI generated. We cannot take the ownership because we generate that content from someone else ownership based content, right? That's why the government's strategy is soft law now, strict law later, meaning flexible regulation today but readiness for strong laws if misuse increases. That is what India says. In short, India's approach balances innovation and accountability, ensuring technology serves humanity, not the other way around. So, friends, these articles together reflect how India and the world are moving towards inclusive, balanced, and future ready governance. So, stay tuned for daily updates and continue writing your mains answers regularly. See you in the next session. Till then, thank you and vanakkam.